All right, hi guys, welcome back to Yaya Simple Living. Today we are going to be making some mozzarella cheese, some ricotta cheese, and we are going to make some garlic breadsticks. So what I have here is I have 2 gallons of milk warming on my stove slowly, and we're going to warm that up to 90 degrees. To the milk, we are going to add 2 cups of water, and we're going to mix in 3 teaspoons of citric acid. We're going to dissolve that into the water, and we are going to mix that into our milk, and that's going to raise the acidity of our milk. Once our milk gets to 90 degrees, we are going to add in half a teaspoon. We're going to dissolve half a teaspoon of rennet into half a cup of water, and we'll mix that in. So let's get started with this first. We're going to mix in our citric acid, and we're going to stir that in really well. Make sure it's all stirred up. Let me move you guys a little closer too. So we're going to stir that up, make sure it's all stirred in well. And again, we're going to heat our milk up to 90 degrees. And you can see that the milk is already starting to curdle on the back of my spoon. So let me see where we're at. So we're at about 61 degrees right now, so we've got a ways to go. I'm going to go ahead and cover this up just to keep some of that heat in there. And I don't want to mix my rennet up until right before I'm ready to pour it in, because the rennet will lose some of its effectiveness. Let me get the rest of that in there. So as soon as this comes up to 90 degrees, we will be back. Okay, so now we are going to add half a teaspoon of our rennet to a cup of water. Because our milk has hit 90 degrees, we are going to stir this in, and we're going to stir from top to bottom for 30 seconds. Because we want to make sure it is completely mixed in. And then we are going to move our pot off the heat, and we're going to cover it, and we're going to let it sit for anywhere from 5 to 45 minutes. And what the rennet does is it coagulates the milk and separates the curd from the whey. And the curd is what we're going to make the mozzarella cheese out of. So we're going to just stir this in really well. Make sure it's all mixed in well. Okay, then we are going to put our cover on. Let me move this. And we're going to move it off the heat. Okay? And then we'll just let that sit, and I'll be back. All right, we're back. And so our curds have set, oh, kinda. We're going to go ahead and we're going to cut them into about 1-inch squares. All right. Now we're going to turn our heat back on. And we are going to bring our temperature. We're going to bring our temperature up to 135 degrees. So let me see where we're at right now. Okay, so we have a little ways to go. We are at 91. All right, so we have it up to 105. We are now going to turn the heat off. I'm going to move this over there, over to my sink, so I have better place to work. Okay, we are back. So what I have here is I have a glass bowl, and then I'm going to put a fine mesh strainer over that, and I'm going to put a flour sack towel over that, and then I'm going to start straining out my curds. And I'm just trying to get as little whey over here as possible. Even though it will drain out, it'll just be quicker if I can get it as much out before I put it over here. Okay, so now that we have all of our curds out of there, we are going to squeeze some of the whey out. Just try and get some of that whey. Because we want to eventually get it all out. And I'm going to pour this in back into my pot. So some people just let it sit and drain for a few minutes. You can hang it to let it drain. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and empty this into my bowl because now we are going to start heating this up. I want to try and get all of it off the flour sack towel that I can because we do not want to waste it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to microwave this and heat it up, and then we're going to start stretching it. And I know that there is still some whey in there, but that's okay, it's going to come out. So I'm going to put it in my microwave for 1 minute. And then I have some kitchen gloves because when it comes out it's going to be very hot and maybe almost too hot to handle. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my kitchen gloves on because that will help me be able to handle it and stretch it more effectively. So as soon as that comes out, we'll be back. So it's out of the microwave and we're gonna just start folding it over onto itself squeezing it to make one cohesive ball. And it will start coming together the more you handle it. We're just gonna try and squeeze all this whey right out of it. I'm gonna set this here. It's actually very therapeutic. And as you squeeze it, more and more whey is going to continue coming out of it. And you're just going to keep heating it up in the microwave. You can start to stretch it, but as you can see, it's still kind of ripped, so it's not quite ready to be stretched yet. We're just gonna mold it together, get it all into a cohesive ball. And we're gonna keep alternating. When it cools off, we're gonna put it back in the microwave for 30 seconds. So we're gonna do 30-second intervals. I'll be back. Okay. So we're gonna keep squeezing that whey out. And we're gonna put that back in our pot because we are gonna use that whey to make our ricotta. You just want to keep folding it over on itself, squeezing it. And as you can see, it's starting to kind of smooth out a little bit. It's starting to be a little bit more stretchy. So we want to get it to the point where when we stretch it, it does not rip. Getting there. So at this point, what I want to do, because I want to get it mixed in there, is I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt to our cheese. All right, so I am sitting there stretching and realized that my battery died. So I had to get a new battery. So let me heat this up again, and then we're going to put 2 teaspoons of salt on our cheese. So let me heat this up again because I'm having a hard time stretching it because it has cooled off some. And we'll be back. Okay, so it is 1 teaspoon per gallon of milk. So we used 2 gallons of milk, so we're gonna do, I'm gonna start with 1, well, no, I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons. Okay, and then we're gonna just make sure that we fold that. We're gonna mix that salt in. Because we want it throughout our cheese. And you can see that our cheese is still ripping a little bit because of the salt, but that's okay. We're just gonna keep working it. And keep heating it. Turning it over on itself. All right, so I'm gonna heat this up one more time and hopefully that will be all I need. Okay, we're back. Look at how stretchy that is. It's still ripping a little bit, and that's not what we want. So we're just gonna keep stretching it until it no longer, we're gonna keep stretching it and heating it until it no longer rips. See, it's still ripping up on top. That's okay. We want it to have that really good quality when we use it, so we want to make sure that it stretches. Now some people, they use a pot of hot water to heat their mozzarella up. I just find it easier to just put it in the microwave and do it that way. But you can do hot water. We're gonna heat it up again. Okay, let's see. Look at that. Look at how stretchy that is. It's still ripping a little bit, but it's so much better. It could be also because my mozzarella ball is so big. I think I'm going to tear it into two and see if that helps at all. Then we'll just have two in there. Let's see. I feel like I'm manhandling this cheese. All right, one more time in the microwave, and I think that that is going to be it for us. And our mozzarella will be ready. Okay. Here we go. Whoa. Yeah, I'd say it's ready. What do you think? Look at that. Ooh, it's sticking to my glove. That's how melty it is. Okay. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? All right, so let me get a container for these two guys and we'll move on to our next step. Okay, so I have a container here. I'm going to put my mozzarella balls in my container. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put some of this whey over the top of them. And that will keep them from drying out too much. Okay. And then we can store them in our refrigerator just like this. So let me get this cleaned up and then we'll be back. Now we're gonna make our ricotta, and to do that, we are gonna heat our whey up to 195 degrees. So, and we're gonna keep stirring it because we do not want it to scorch. So as soon as this gets up to temperature, I will bring you guys back. So, we bring it up here. Our whey has hit 195 degrees. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna add in a half a cup of distilled white vinegar. Let me see if I can, let me move this around here real quick. Hang on one second. All right, so we are gonna add in a half a cup of distilled white vinegar and stir it. And what it should do is start to curdle our whey and separate the curds and whey, the leftover curds and whey. We want to make sure that it's 100% incorporated. And then we're going to let it sit for a couple minutes. And what'll happen is most of the ricotta will settle on the bottom of the pot. And then we're going to slowly drain it into we're going to put it through our colander and separate the ricotta from the whey. So I'm going to let this sit here for a few minutes and let it continue to curdle. All right, so I want to show you guys what's happening here. So can you see the little bits past the foam? All these little bits here that are clumping together. So that is our ricotta cheese. So as you can see, our whey went from being a very milky to a very yellow. And you can see where everything's separating and the solids are gonna settle on the bottom of our pot. So we can take some of this foam out and we can start putting it through just to get it out of the way. So I'm gonna start just straining a little bit of this foam so we get a better view of what is going on. Now you can see the clumps a little bit better. Right in there. And we want to slowly do this because what's going to happen is as these solids settle on the bottom, it's going to be easier for us to separate the whey And then we're not gonna get rid of this whey. Remember, we're gonna use this whey, so you can use this whey a bunch of different ways. You can use it in place of your liquid in breads, which is what we're gonna do. You can feed it to your animals if you have like pigs or something like that. You can feed it to them. You can also feed it to your garden. It's really nutritious for your garden. So I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys back up on the tripod so that I can start draining our whey a little bit. So now you can do this a couple different ways. I am gonna go ahead and start slowly pouring this into my colander. And I'm pouring it slowly because, like I said, all of the solids have pretty much settled on the bottom. And this is gonna make it a lot easier to separate that whey from the ricotta. Now, let me make sure that my pan here isn't filled up. Oh, it is almost filled up. So my pan is not tall enough. Oh, running out of room. The pan is sitting on top of. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move this whey out of the way. Let's see what I did there. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this over here, and we will keep, just make sure, okay. All right, and then we will continue straining. So you see all of the ricotta down there? All right, and then we're gonna let this drain for at least an hour and up to 5 hours, depending on how dry we want our ricotta. Of course, I'm not gonna hold it for an hour or 5. I'm going to move it over to this pan. I made a little bit of a mess, but it's okay. So we're just gonna let our ricotta drain, and then we'll be back. So again, depending on how dry or wet you want your ricotta, you can drain it anywhere from an hour up to 5 hours. We're gonna leave it until we see the consistency we want. All right, guys, so we have let our ricotta drain. I'm just gonna scrape up a little bit off here. And we are going to put this in a container, and we're gonna add some salt to it, just to flavor it a little bit. So let me move this out of the way. And get our little container here for our ricotta cheese. All right. We will wash that. So let me get some salt. And a spoon. And we're just gonna mix that in. Let me get a spoon so I can taste it real quick. Make sure it's seasoned properly. Okay, good. Perfect. All right, so now we have our ricotta. We're gonna cover that up, put that in the refrigerator. And this will stay good in the refrigerator for about 5 days, the same as the mozzarella. And then we have 1.5 gallons of whey. So this whey will stay good in the refrigerator for a couple months. So we're gonna use this, you can use this as a replacement when you're making bread. You can use it as a replacement for milk or water. You can also put it in your pasta water, or when you're boiling potatoes. You can dilute it and put it on your garden, on your plants. This is an acid whey because we use the vinegar to separate the ricotta, so this is acidic. You can use it in smoothies. There's all kinds of different uses for it. So we are gonna use it to make some garlic breadsticks because I have some friends coming over. And I'm gonna make some lasagna for them this week. And we're also gonna use it to cook our lasagna noodles in. So I will bring you back when we are ready to use that. Hi guys. So I know you're expecting to see me use the whey when I make my garlic breadsticks. However, it appears that my battery died in the middle of that, so I sadly don't have footage of it, and I apologize. But when I use the whey, I will certainly make another video showing you guys all the different ways to use the whey. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up in YouTube. And if you want to get notified every time I upload a new video, go ahead and hit that bell notification and you'll get notified. I do have a couple of baking videos coming up. So I'm doing a couple different kinds of rolls because I know the holidays are coming up and we make dinner rolls and we bake for the holidays. So I have a couple different dinner roll recipes. I'm also going to do a recipe on turkey chili in bread bowls. So if this sounds like something that would interest you, go ahead and hit that bell notification and you'll get notified when I upload those videos. Thanks guys, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.